Hello, my phoenixes. Checking in with y'all. 24 days till sentencing. I'm gonna do these videos. I don't know if I'm gonna do one like a week before, 10 days before, 2 weeks before. I don't know. I'll probably do another one before I actually check in on sentencing day with y'all. But so I guess my mind state now. I did a 36-day until sentencing video, 35, 36. So almost 2 weeks ago. And the time is flying. I mean, it is going quick. And I'm grateful for that because, the major things I wanted to get out of the way, while I was on pre-sentence, are pretty much out of the way now. And now it's just living day-to-day life in limbo, not knowing, what the judge is going to determine my fate to be, for the foreseeable, short-term future. And, like, on one hand, you know, if the judge decides that I got to go to prison or I got to do my time in prison rather than on home confinement, there are definitely a few more things, I want to put together before I go, for people that I care for. Um, and I should have time to do that. I mean, generally with my judge, I study up on my judge and, and all the people involved, all the shareholders, so to speak. It seems like typically people, in his court that are on pre-sentence, when they get sentenced, assuming they haven't been acting a fool on pre-sentence, which I haven't, they usually have about 30 days until they actually have to go to their facility. Now, if I get sentenced to a facility, it'll be about a couple weeks after my sentencing. I'll get my designation letter in the mail telling me when and where, what prison I got to be at, the exact date and time, and, and turn myself in directly to my prison. So, if that's what it has to be, if I have to go sit down, I'm ready to just go get it out of the way. And more importantly, I'm ready to just know what my short-term future is about to look like. And I can't know that until the sentencing is out of the way. If I get sentenced to a period of 2, 3 years, a year, whatever, and I get to do my time on home confinement, that's a whole different animal than actually being in a corrections facility. Or maybe I just get probation. I mean, God knows that's a far stretch. And, even with people like me where that's a possibility in their sentence, it still does not happen very often. So I'm not really putting a lot on that. But the thing is if I get sentenced to a facility, I mean, I'm already planning out, my re-entry, how I'm going to do my time, doing RDAP and minimizing my time that way. And kind of planning for my life when I come home already, even though I ain't even in prison yet. But then again, if I do my time on home confinement, I'm thinking like, at what point, I'm eager to have my own place again. I'm a person, very independent person. And in light of the fact that I will likely soon be incarcerated, I've moved in with family and I'm just renting a room, and I gave up my 3-bed, 2-bath house and all that. And it's been a hard adjustment for me. I'm a person that really likes quiet in my space. And I'm very much organized and everything has a place. And I like things a certain way. And you're just not going to get what you want, as far as how you prefer to just live your life and your environment to be when you're in someone else's home. And, you can't do nothing but just be humble and be grateful that you have the opportunity, that I had the opportunity to rent a room for my people, But it's certainly been difficult, mentally. But if I get home confinement, or if I just get probation, I'm thinking at what point do I get my next, my spot, my apartment. I think really be smart to wait till tax time. We're all getting that child tax credit money and stuff. And, where I live in West Virginia, the cost of living is very cheap. So that's easily first month's rent, deposit, moving costs, all of that. So instead of having to stress and save up for it, it would just pretty much be boom at one time I have it. But then I'm also thinking if I get incarcerated, I still would like to have my tax money. But then who can I trust with my information to file my taxes for me that's actually going to do it? I know a couple people I would trust with my information to file my taxes for me. But at the same token, one is a very busy person. So ain't no telling when it would ever get done. And the other person doesn't really have much going on, period, but is really a huge procrastinator. So, I've been thinking a lot about that too. There are a lot of these little small details that have been rolling around in my mind. And I've been thinking about, all the little apartments I had over the years locally before having my big house, little one bedrooms and stuff, 2 bedroom apartments. And, I'm trying to think with the little bit of material possessions I have left, because when you give up your house and if you don't own a storage facility or don't want to get stuck paying for one, you only get to keep the things that you can manage to store at a loved one's home, which in my case was very limited. So like 98% of all of our material possessions, all of our furniture, all that is just gone. But with the little bit of stuff I got left, I'm thinking like, I'm visualizing, how would I set up the bedrooms? How would I set up the living room? What's my game plan, or what's the cheapest ways for me to furnish it in a way that's comfortable for me? Because quite frankly, I'd rather be sitting on the floor than, spend a couple dollars on a raggedy, nasty couch I don't like, and then, get that to the curb and then upgrade to a slightly nicer one, and then keep playing that game 2-3, musical furniture 2-3 times until you actually get something you like. I'd rather just wait, hold on to my little twos and fews, my little change, and get something I like, and until then, I'm gonna be sitting on the floor, and I'm just gonna be happy that I'm not incarcerated. So at this point, like, I'm not anxious, like nervous or concerned or nothing. For the most part, like, my concerns are pretty minimal and trivial, and probably just what's typical. But more so, is like, I'm just kind of, a lot of my time is spent just strategizing, planning. If I get home confinement for a year, how am I going to do that? Where am I going to do that at? How much of it am I going to do here with my family? How much am I going to, what point am I going to, because I think I'm going to have my PO's permission to change addresses. So what if I get a PO that's like, nah, you're on home confinement. You're going to be more comfortable in your own space than someone else's. So I'm not letting you move. You got out of going to prison. So, you got to stay where you're at. My PO can do that. And there'd be nothing I could do really to fight that or stop that. I think I could maybe try to file a motion with my judge to kind of go over my PO's head. But from what I've seen other people do, and just in general in life, when you go over someone's head, over there, when a person in authority makes a decision that you don't like and you go over their head, you tend to make an enemy with that person of authority. And the last thing I'm trying to do is poke the beehive with anybody as far as federal probation or anything like that. So at this point, I really wish more than anything I could just know for certain, at least yes or no, am I going to go to a corrections facility? I'd love to know yes or no, and like fully what the outcome is going to be in 24 days. But right now I'm just more like thinking, am I going to go? Am I not going to go? I've been consistently doing everything I can to get my youngest child prepared for this. I've been very repetitive with the I love you. You may not see me for a while because I got into some trouble. And trying to explain that on a level that's understandable to a 4-year-old, which is there's not really a lot of room there to get that done. But I have been reiterating all the time, even if you don't see mommy for a while, mommy always loves you, mommy always misses you, mommy always wants to be with you, mommy's always going to come back for you. I will always be back. I will never choose to not be with you. I will never not be with you for a period of time and not come back to you. I will never, a day will not go by where I don't love you and miss you and think about you, And I guess I just hope that, like, let's say I do have to go do a couple years, that by the time I come home, in spite of what my child may be being told by other parties, in my absence, hopefully those things, because I've been so repetitive with them, really stick and they remember them, and it gives them something to hold on to, I feel like my youngest child could definitely benefit from some therapy from all the trauma the last couple of years, in regards to this whole legal situation and the subsequent, custody battle. But at this point, I'm 24 days from sentencing. I may very well be less than a couple months out from actually walking into a prison and saying, here I am, and getting stripped naked and, hosed down. They do the lice spray on your hair and your lady parts. And being given a uniform, a jumpsuit. So I don't want to start something, pertaining to moving forward if that's not really going to be able to be consistent. You know what I mean? Because the last thing I would want is for my youngest child to associate any positive changes, like going to therapy or something, with the fact that I was then incarcerated. You know, I don't want that, me putting my youngest child in therapy for that to trigger for them the thought of, oh my God, mommy must be about to go to prison. So I'm just leaving that alone right now. You know, there are a lot of things I want to do to try to repair some damage that's been done, you know, with my youngest child and with other people in my life. But I know that if I start certain things and if I can't stick with them consistently, you know, and just this is the new normal, you know, that it really won't be very, you know, it might do more harm than good. Or you know, because, you know, if you start doing something, you know, if I made it a habit as your neighbor, because maybe you got, you know, bad knees or something, to help you with your groceries you go get every Sunday, and I'm doing this for 3-4 months straight, and then one day I just stop, you know, 6 months from then, our relationship isn't going to be better than what it was before I started doing that for you. If anything, you're going to be like, damn, you know, like, yeah, she started doing the right thing, but it was real short term. You know what I mean? And then too, I don't want my desire, my intentions to remedy situations and relationships with people that have been damaged by this whole, you know, roller coaster ride the last couple of years. I don't want them to feel like my actions are insincere because they're not able to be consistent because I'm on my way to prison. You know what I mean? So I've been giving a lot of thought to that. You know, I did start another YouTube channel, as you all know, Shooting the Bobo with Fed Phoenix, which talks about non-prison related stuff. So in case you're tired of hearing about prison and inmate life, or convict life at least, let's hope this isn't an inmate life situation, even though we know more than likely it will be. But I'm just ready. You know, I'm ready to be sentenced. And you know, and I have a countdown on my phone. And all the countdown apps that I was able to find that had good reviews and stuff and that are free were all vacation countdown apps, which is so ironic and funny to me in a way. Slightly amusing, because whenever I click on my countdown app, it says, you know, vacation countdown, you know, 24 days, 15 hours, such and such minutes, and such seconds. And is it going to be a vacation? You know, am I going to just walk out of there with probation, or at least walk out of there and be able to do my time on home confinement? I mean, I guess that would be a vacation. You know, mentally I would be able to just exhale and breathe and know that I just got to follow some rules and not get myself into no mess. And this, you know, the clock on how much longer I got to deal with this legal stuff will be over with. I'll know that at that point, you know, I can fight in court to get my son back home full time rather than part time, because I know that the only way I got to worry about going to prison at that point is if I get into some new trouble, which I'm certainly not going to do. You know, prior to these charges, I hadn't been in trouble in over 15 years, and I'm a person who's never done prison time. So the trouble I got into 15 years ago obviously wasn't nothing super significant, you know. And it's bananas. It's crazy to be 40 years old, and I have a grown child, and I have a very young child, you know. And I have loved ones, you know, some that depend upon me, some that don't, and I just will truly miss. You know, I have a couple close friends, and it breaks my heart to think, you know, I might go to prison for a couple years, and, you know, when I come home, will their children even know who I am? You know, will that 2 years in prison prove to strain our relationship as it does many relationships? And things just not be the same in a bad way, you know, or maybe just fizzle out and be over with. You know, these friendships that I've had for you know, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, 20 years, will they just kind of die out, you know? Or will I come home and those relationships be stronger because, you know, we went through this together? I don't know. You know, I don't know how that's going to play out. But what I do know is I'm very eager to find out if I'm going to be incarcerated or not. And once that's determined, I think I can really either just kind of batten down the hatches and head off to prison and get this out the way, or I can start rebuilding my life. Rebuilding my life, you know, in regards to my life for myself, my life for my children, my life for my loved ones. You know, I've thought about, you know, trying to put a couple twos and fews back and getting a little laptop so that I can edit these videos and have little thumbnails, you know, like a lot of people do, because I can't figure out how to do it on a phone. But I know there are a lot of videos showing me how to do it if I had a computer. But then I'm like, nah. Because, ain't no telling if I was to spend some money on something like that. First off, I could certainly, any money I'd be able to put towards, a little used laptop would certainly at this point in my life, if I'm going to be incarcerated, be better invested towards me having hygiene products and stationery and being able to make phone calls and see medical and eat, and just survive while I'm in prison. And also, if I was to invest in anything at this point in my life materialistically, there's no guarantee when I come home that I'm even going to have access to that. It's still going to exist. House fires happen, floods happen, tornadoes happen, people pass, people move, people's circumstances change every day. In the free world, life happens at 100 miles a minute. And it would just be foolish of me to put money in something materialistic that isn't absolutely necessary right now in the free world, knowing that that's not a guaranteed, like I'm going to have the fruits of that investment when I come home. You know what I mean? And if I'm not going to prison, I certainly want to start putting a lot more effort into my YouTube channels, both this one and also, my other one, Shooting the Bobo with Ed Phoenix. I only have like 3 videos up, I think, right now. I definitely like to have, at least a couple dozen videos. But I want to make sure that all my content really comes from the heart on that channel. I want to make sure that my most authentic self shows through. I want to make sure that I'm really discussing things that matter to people, or things that can inspire people or enlighten them or make them feel better about life or maybe offer a new perspective that they hadn't previously considered. I want for my viewers to gain something from being my viewers because, I appreciate my subscribers. I appreciate, even the non-subscribers who just watch my stuff. I really appreciate y'all. I really feel the love and feel a lot of support. And I feel like that right now at like 31 subscribers. So if my page, either of my pages, heck, the Shooting the Bobo page has 0 subscribers. But, if this grows over time into something bigger, 100, maybe 1,000, I don't know. I don't want to get too crazy now, right? But, I want to make sure, like, especially if I'm incarcerated and people take an interest in my channels, I want there to be enough material that it's not like one of those things like, oh, that's interesting, let me look in there. And then they look in and there's really nothing to see. I want, and especially with the Shooting the Bobo page, I want people to be able to really get a sense of who I am and how I think and how my morals are set up and just my perspective on life so that they can feel that we have a connection. You know what I mean? And, when I come home, I can, start responding to their comments, their questions, their critiques, their support. And, I think that'll be something to really help me readjust a lot when I come home as well. Assuming I'm going to prison, I think it'll help me readjust a lot because I know right now with my life in limbo, legally, I certainly feel very supported by the small amount of subscribers I have. I feel like a few of them, we've talked on the phone, outside of YouTube. And, some of them I've advised on their legal situations or just given insights, from my perspective or what I know. And some of these people have told me about their experiences, and it's helped me. It's helped me feel like I'm not as alone in the world, and that's the thing, we get so caught up with day-to-day life, work, family, just living, our own struggles, our own priorities and different things, that I think sometimes the human connection kind of gets lost in the sauce. And even if you're in a room surrounded by people, or even if you're a person who's on the go, busy, sometimes you really feel a sense of just, you're kind of by yourself in things, And when you feel that, when that realization hits you, it's sad and it's humbling, but not the good kind of humbling, the bad kind of humbling, that makes you uncomfortable. And I hope that there are some people in the world that will find my channels and they will know that I appreciate that they're watching. I appreciate that they're listening. I appreciate that they interact, that they subscribe or hit notification or whatever, liking my videos. And maybe they will feel less lonely because we will have a connection. Heck, if I'm incarcerated, maybe some of those people will reach out and shoot me a letter, let's get to know each other, because, honey, if I get incarcerated, one thing I'm going to have on my hand is plenty of time. Pun intended. But seriously, we're like 24 days out, 24, 25, I want to say 24. And I'm just ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. And, and I'm hoping I don't have to go. But either way, I guess I'm not really ready to go per se, would really be how I would sum things up, but more so I'm ready to just know, what my sentence is, and so that I can begin to just settle into my new normal. Whether that new normal is someone who's, you know, being fast tracked to a prison and going to be in prison for a while and then has to go through reentry and do all these things, or whether my new normal is I get to continue to support those who rely on my support in the free world and also get to start rebuilding my life. I mean, how amazing would it be, seriously, even though statistically it's unlikely, for me to not have to actually do physical time in prison, be able to do my time on home confinement or get probation, and really be able to just exhale. Y'all remember that movie, Waiting to Exhale? I remember when the girl, the lady in the video, when she finally just exhaled, and she could just let go. And I think no matter what the judge sentences me to, I think I'd be more likely to get emotional in the courtroom if I could do my time in home confinement, if I got probation, because I think I would be so overwhelmed to just have to know and have solidified for me, like, yes, you can start to legitimately rebuild your life. Because right now I feel like, most efforts I can make to rebuild my life, like if I like starting working on my credit now, it makes no sense. Putting my youngest child in therapy, 24 days before I get sentenced makes no sense. Because I may not be here to follow through, and I'm a person, I'm very proactive, and I'm a chess not checkers kind of person. And I'm big on the follow through, big on it. And it really, one of my pet peeves is when other people don't follow through on things that impact or relate to me. But I'm ready. I'm ready, folks. And more importantly, I'm ready to just know. I'm tired of not knowing. And for a long time, that not knowing made me very anxious and uncomfortable. And almost like sometimes I would even get a sense of panic about it. But I don't have that no more. I kind of feel like before you're going in for like a major surgery, how you have like the anxiety and you're scared. All those phases I've already processed and went through all those phases. So now I'm at the phase where they start giving you the anesthesia, but you're in pre-op. You're not actually in the operating room yet. And you're just kind of a little woozy, you feel real tired, super tired. And you're no longer scared or anxious or you're not overwhelmed by the prospects of how things may play out. You're just tired, and you're just ready for the meds to really do their job, and just close your eyes, knowing that when you wake up, whether things go good or bad in the operating room, that's when you can move on with your life. That's when you can, if things go well, you can heal and recover and get to a better place. And if things didn't go well, you can try to heal and recover the best you can and start fighting your way through the next chapter, if that's what it has to be. And that's really kind of where I'm at with things. So what do y'all think? Those of you who've been incarcerated, I know most of you, you get indicted or arrested, and if you get pre-sentence release with the feds, usually it's in a locked facility like a rehab or something. It's not common that people get pre-sentence release and they really are out here in the free world, yet alone like me. I ain't got no anklet or nothing. Once a month I check in with my PO, and if I need a travel motion, after I talk to my lawyer, I then, inform my PO. The other day I had to have non-emergency police help me get into my car because I locked the keys in. Any action with law enforcement, you report back to your probation officer, so I immediately text her. And other than that, I'm on the color line, but my color comes up like every 4 to 6 weeks. So, me and my PO don't have a whole lot of regular interaction, which is fine. She's a busy woman. Wonderful person, by the way. She and I get along quite well. But, she's a busy person, and I got plenty to do on my own. But, I'm just ready. I'm just ready. And any of you who got to do pre-sentence release prior to your incarceration, what was it like for you at this point? 3 weeks and 3 days before sentencing. Do you remember, what was going through your mind or what was happening in your life at this point? And if you're a person who's going to be in my position, just know that you're going to go through periods where you're angry, in this process. Why me? And, why did that rat, I don't even know if I can say his name on here, so I'll leave it alone. But why would he say that I was involved, you know, that my home was this or that? You know, why would a person even fix their mouth to say something like that? You know, and you're angry. You're angry at the cops. Like, they didn't have to break the cupboard in my downstairs bathroom. Like, that was just ignorant. You know, like, you're just angry. You know, you go through an angry phase. They say that going to prison for a lot of folks, when they get to see it coming, is like having a death, because a part of your life is sacrificed. You know, a slice of your life, when you become incarcerated, you just kind of lose. You know, you can't get back that time. But you know, you go through the anger. You go through a period of mourning, because, you know, I think I definitely went through that when I moved out of my house. You know, because I really had to fully comprehend and accept and come to terms with, you know, what was, and what was gonna be, what my plans and the path I was on and the aspirations. All that is over with. It's gone. It's no longer in existence. At least not anytime in the foreseeable future. You know, you go through bargaining with yourself. Some of y'all do a little too much bargaining. but not for real. But even with yourself, you're just like, you know, well, I guess it's not really a bargaining phase. It's more like a what if. You know, what if I would have did this? What if I would have did that? I should have did this. I should have, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda phase. And then, you know, you go through stages of fear, stages of anxiety. You know, how will I ever have the life that I aspire to have? You know, in the wake of this, in the aftermath of this. But then ultimately, I'm here to tell you, if you're finding yourself recently as a federal defendant, or probably even a state defendant, there will come a time, and I'm at that point, where you're at peace with it. You know, you're at peace with, you know, this is my situation. There's no more. And sometimes before I would have waves, and it wasn't even peace, it was like numbness that I would go through. Which I think was my mind's way of protecting me from just completely losing it. But, you know, there will come a time where you will be at peace, and you will just be ready to know what's going to happen, you know, what's happening with your life, and you'll be ready to move on, you know, and if you got to go to prison and go through a halfway house before you can move on, you know, you're anxious, if anything, just to get that over with, you know. So these are my thoughts 24 days out. You know, I love y'all. You know, I appreciate your support. I thank you for watching my videos. You know, I'm here. You know, I'm doing me. And I think I'm in a good place mentally right now. So, but yeah, this is like 24 days out. I'll probably do another video like 7 or 10 days out. I don't want to beat y'all on the head with too many of these. And then I'll probably do one like the morning before, the night before my sentencing, because I think at that point, I think my sense of peace is going to go flying out the window, and I'll probably be a basket case, you know, because there's just so much weighing on this judge's decision. But I'll try to check in with y'all again about 7 to 10 days before my sentencing hearing. If I don't, I will certainly make a video like the night before, the morning of, or maybe even the day before. And then if I'm not detained in the courtroom, then I'll be making a video afterwards, giving y'all an update. And in the meantime, you know, if there's any topics you'd like me to cover and do a video on, pertaining to prison, or having a loved one going through the prison system, or even just the court system in the Fed, feel free to comment, let me know. I think the majority of my videos, you know, came from people saying, you know, well, what about this? Well, what about that? And I was like, wow, you know, that's a legitimate question, or that's an interesting, you know, inquiry. So let me address it, you know, for my subscribers and my followers, you know, so that they're wondering the same thing, they have that answer. So, but I'm gonna get off here, y'all. I think I'm gonna make myself a cup of chai tea. I love me some chai tea. I'm gonna make some chai tea, and my son's taking a nap. You know, I love my time with him. But yeah, I think I'll make myself a cup of hot tea, and go put away some laundry, and try to enjoy my evening the best I can. I hope you have a wonderful evening too. And just remember, whether you're a federal defendant or someone you love is, you know, we're going to get through this because we have to. Period. There's no negotiation outside of that. That's the reality. We're going to get through this because we have to. And I'm here for y'all as much as I can be. And if you see these videos after I'm incarcerated, you know, feel free to reach out to me. You know, there's in the description of the page, there's step-by-step instructions to help you do that. If I'm not incarcerated, I put my email in the description on my videos. Y'all feel free to reach out to me. I'm here, and I'm certainly at a point in my life where I feel I need to make amends, not to a specific person, but just kind of to the world in general for any harm that I've contributed to. And so if I can be supportive or helpful to you in any way, just hit me up. I'm happy to do that. It's the right thing to do, and I like knowing that I'm doing the right thing. So that helps me sleep at night. So y'all have a beautiful evening, and I will talk to you later. Good day. God bless.